Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our 346 weekly webcast. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. And if you've been with us before, welcome back. I've been doing this for about 8 years now. I've never had more fun in my life. I do this for free. I'm going to do it forever. Please continue to type your questions. Now, I've got an important announcement. Our 11th annual one-year MBA degree program starts this January 26th. Now, classes are every Monday and Tuesday for 1 year, starting January 26th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. If you want to join, what you can do is join me tomorrow on my 11th annual open house webcast. Okay, it's going to be here on my YouTube channel. Everybody joining gets 3 gifts: 2 courses of mine for free and a book as well. And one person on the webcast will randomly win a 100% scholarship to my gold program. So if you want to learn more and purchase today, if you want to, supply is limited, go to this link you see right here. For those of you listening on Spotify and all the millions of podcast networks we have, it's 11thmbaclass.com. Okay. And if you wanted to, you can set up a call with me to discuss joining as well. And you'll see it in the chat here. Just click on the comment that says, set up a Zoom with me to discuss joining the MBA program. All right. Now, what's different this year compared to previous years is we have a massive upgrade in the program. And that upgrade is as follows. I'll show you here. So what I did was I created an app and an online community as well. So as you can see here, you get access to my 700 hours of content for life. You also get access to an incredible community here. And we've got 132 people in the community right now. Everybody is very nurturing. Everybody shares ideas, introduce themselves, shares wins. A lot of my clients are getting jobs. They share it here, etc. And the good thing is that you can also get, there's an Android app, you see here, and an iOS app as well if you want, okay? So if you're interested in joining and getting a couple of free prizes, again, join me tomorrow on this webcast. It's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time. Everybody gets 3 gifts. Let me get to your questions, which is the reason we're here. All right. And by the way, somebody mentioned right here, is that an image? It's not. So I hung it here with fishing wire. Yeah, having fun. All right, so first question I've got here is from Peter. Hey, Peter, he wrote, do you think Trump's Greenland threats are just a bargaining ploy, or is he really willing to explode the NATO alliance by invading? Ending NATO would have all sorts of knock-on effects. Yeah, I saw that Germany, Spain, Denmark, and a couple other countries just sent a bunch of troops to Greenland. What I think Trump is doing is this, okay? He's logical, okay? Love him or hate him, he is logical. And he's very good. He's probably the best politician in history. I didn't vote in the last election, okay? But he's the best politician in U.S. history when it comes to negotiating, okay? Look what he did last year with tariffs, okay? GDP grew nicely. Crime is down 20% year over year, et cetera, given the ICE agent things. I don't want to get there because it's very political. But I think what he's doing with Greenland is he's bargaining. So, of course, he's not going to invade. But if he threatens to, the real game here is not getting Greenland. The real end game here is saying, screw you, Iran, and any country that wants to mess around with the United States. That's the end game here, in my humble opinion. Okay? It has nothing to do with Greenland. So what he did with Venezuela and what he did by bombing Iran last year, partnering with Israel, is a way to tell other countries, don't mess with us. It could also be to certain countries in Asia not to touch Taiwan, etc. Okay, anyway, those are my humble thoughts. Every time I talk about politics, a lot of people leave the webcast. It is what it is. I'm transparent. Okay, all right. Manas wrote, good morning, my dear mentor. Hope all is well. Great to see you, Manas. All right, next question is, why did Chevron CEO reject Venezuela, and why did the administration get mad? So Chevron CEO rejected Venezuela before Trump sent in the army to kidnap Maduro. And the reason why was because Venezuela was a dictatorship for many, many years. That's it. Yeah, but Chevron will embrace Venezuela going forward, in my humble opinion. Now, about 20% of oil exports for Venezuela are done through Chevron, ticker CVX. I'm shocked that Chevron is not up more. And a good investment could possibly be the onshore drillers as well. You can look at those components in the OIH. That's an ETF if you want. Okay. All right, next question is, for a quant trader, was an acceptable win-loss ratio and Sharpe ratio? Let me explain Sharpe ratio to everybody here. So Sharpe ratio is something that hedge funds use to assess what the return is relative to the amount of risk that they take. So the formula is as follows. The return of the hedge fund minus the risk-free rate, which is usually government treasuries, divided by the standard deviation. Okay, which measures risks and volatility. Now, typically, the average Sharpe ratio for hedge funds is about 0.7. Okay, a decent one is above 1. An incredible one is 2. And off the charts is above 3, which is extraordinarily rare. In terms of win-loss ratio, I don't really look at it that way, because I really do believe that every single hedge fund, every portfolio, retail investor or professional, your returns every year comes down to 2 or 3 core ideas you do a lot of work on. The rest is just noise. Yeah. Now, in terms of portfolio diversification, what I recommend everybody in this webcast do is, if you're going to invest in single stocks, you got to have at least 20 in your portfolio. And the reason I say that is I don't want any position to be more than 5% of capital. Okay. And I don't care if a company has a cure for cancer. You cannot have more than 5% in any one position. Now, as you're doing investment research on stocks, which is something I teach you in a lot of detail in my MBA program, as you're doing investment research on stocks, if you don't see more than 15% upside per year when you're doing research on a stock, don't buy it, man. Just buy the S&P, buy ticker VOO. You know, ticker VOO, I think it's going to be about 15% on average, for the next couple decades, right? There will be down years too, I promise you. But we don't care about that. We don't care about the path. We care about the destination. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next question is, will credit card cap affect Mastercard and Visa more? How and why? Yeah, not as much as you think. And here's why. So what's happening is Donald Trump is threatening the credit card companies by saying you cannot charge 20% interest fees. You can charge 10% max. Now, what people don't realize is that the interest fees is something that banks collect, not the credit card companies. So here's how it works. So if you have a Visa card through Bank of America, what happens is Bank of America gets the interest fees if you're late. Okay, the transaction fees Visa and MasterCard get no matter what. Okay. Next question is a 20% year over year considered good post-taxes for a time frame of 10 years? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's unbelievable. Now, if you want to calculate how many years it takes for your money to double, you basically use the rule of 72. Right? So if the annual return on your investments is 7.2%, then we take 72 divided by 7.2. That means it takes 10 years to double. But if you take the rule of 72 divided by 2, that means it's going to take, less than 4 years for it to double. Alexa, 72 divided by 20.
72 divided by 20 is 3.6.
3.6 years. That's a pretty darn good return. And after tax, that's insanely great. Yeah. Okay, next question is, how do you find out if you have a 5x5 for a stock or an asset? Yeah, so I often refer to, when you do investment research using my templates, you got to look for what's called a 5x5, meaning a stock or an investment that has a 500% return within 5 years. Okay, now the best way to do that is to fill out my template here that I provide you with in the MBA degree program. So for you, Manas, you've been in my program for years, go to EMS 4-2, Economics Management and Strategy, Semester 4, class number 2, and answer all these questions here. Now, the most important thing is not going to be qualitative research. It's going to be quantitative and financial research when you forecast what your earnings per share estimates are going to be in 5 or 10 years. And that is how you're going to value the company. And if you have more questions, please ask me today during office hours. Okay. And when it comes to office hours for my products, I have products where you get daily office hours with me, meaning a daily, at least 1 hour group Zoom call every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's 7 hours per week, 300 hours per year. and much, much more. And if you're interested in learning more, what you can do is if you look in the chat here, I pinned to the top a link that says set up a Zoom with me, discuss joining my MBA program. It's a free call for anybody. Yeah. And you'll talk to me and nobody on my team. Yeah. I love what I do. All right. Next question I've got here is, can you talk about the superb miracle comeback of Carvana? Sure. And how does it help retail investors? Yeah, it's kind of a one-off. So Carvana is a place where you can buy used cars online. The company almost went belly up back in 2022 or 2023. It's an incredible turnaround. I'll talk about their turnaround in a second. But in December, late December of last year, they were added to the S&P 500. And I think Mohawk Industries was taken out. And that's a huge deal because ETFs, you know, a lot of them are based on the S&P 500. So from a supply-demand perspective, that increases demand materially for the stock. Now, here's what they did. So Carvana was focused. And by the way, I don't believe you guys should ever invest in turnarounds, because 99% of all turnarounds don't work. And if you want to look at what kind of a turnaround could work, I want you to read a book by the former McKinsey consultant who ran IBM for years. The book's name is Who Said Elephants Can't Dance? Okay, and that's Lou Gertzner. I was thinking of his name. I couldn't think of it. Read that book, Who Said Elephants Can't Dance? But let's talk about Carvana and what they did. So what Carvana did was, instead of focusing on growth at all costs, what they did was they slowed down growth, and then they cut the crap out of sales and marketing. Okay, this is an income statement. And they cut a lot of G&A. Okay, and they did this using AI partially. Okay, so what happened was this, and I'm exaggerating here, but if you cut these red items expenses, then that means that net income increases materially, as does cash flow in their situation, okay, which rescued the company. They use just a ton of AI to work smarter and not harder as well. And I expect a lot of companies to do that as well. And in fact, a lot of companies are starting to cut back on consulting firms as well. Like McKinsey just let go 10% of their workforce because a lot of companies are using AI to cut expenses materially. And I teach you how to use AI to work smarter and not harder in my MBA degree program. And I'll show you an example of how. So I've got a number of courses here, including the Complete Artificial Intelligence course, as well as how to use ChatGPT to invest in stocks. Anybody that purchases my products gets all my future electives for free. Okay. All right, let me go back to questions here, though. All right. And one more thing I want to say on turnarounds. Whenever you guys see a technology company that's becoming a little bit less relevant, it's game over. Okay? I don't care what company it is. 99.9% of the time, what I just said is factual. Again, when a technology company starts becoming a little bit less relevant, it's game over. Don't invest. Don't get seduced into cheap valuations either. Yeah. And I feel very strongly about that. Yeah. Okay. All right. I also don't believe in investing in any tech company when the founder leaves. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Malcolm. Hey, Malcolm. Malcolm wrote, I cold called a real estate agent who understood my interest to learn and ask questions for a walkthrough of the house. As a retail investor, what questions do I ask when adding real estate to a project? Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody should own real estate. I think it's more important than owning stocks. One of the reasons is because the incredible tax deduction you get. All right. So if you're going to invest in real estate, what I recommend that you do is you take my complete real estate course. Okay, so what I do is I ask you a ton of questions. And based on the questions, you get a one-page executive summary as well as a 27-page business plan that you can print out as well. See, 27 pages. And failing the plan is plan to fail. So what questions do you ask yourself? Well, a good real estate investment is ideal. I for income, D for depreciation, E for equity, A for appreciation, L for leverage. I ask you tons of questions. We value the property using 5 methodologies. I'll finish this up quick, I promise. I then help you understand the math behind the mortgage, all the service providers, including appraisers, lawyers, who I don't like, unless you're a civil rights lawyer, then I love you. Income statement, cash flow statements, real estate formulas, etc. Okay. Now, the way to access this course here, right? And there's different tracks. There's primary residence, investment rental for residential, commercial. The way to access this is you go right here to our community, and then you're going to scroll down here, and this is exclusively available in my community here. Okay, let me go on to the next question, and let me stop the stupid infomercial. At least I'm honest. Okay, laugh at me, not with me, folks. All right, next question is, will companies like Figma and Adobe survive in the AI wave, as AI can almost do anything with a few short prompts, thanks to Sora and QN and AI video companies? Yeah, I think they will survive, yeah. But I was tickled pink when I first got introduced to Sora. I got access to it before most people did. I got some connections to the company and stuff, which is fun. I loved it because what I did with my business was I actually stopped paying Adobe because I hated they would charge me a fortune for any time I wanted to use a little video clip. So I started using Sora, and then what I did was I switched back to Adobe. And the reason I did, right, and I was actually able to save just a ton of money in G&A and S&M, my company. The reason I switched back to Adobe is because Adobe realized the threat from AI and Sora, that what they did was they materially cut their prices for using video content when you search for adobeimages.com. So I went back. So if you think about what's happening, AI is incredibly deflationary, okay? And it's going to have more an impact on Western society than the fall of the Berlin Wall, and I'll explain why. So when the Berlin Wall fell back around 1990, what happened was you had a lot of brilliant Eastern European moving west. And what happened because of that was that prices started going down, right? Or at least not going up very much. And as a result, we had irrational exuberance, as Dr. Greenspan called it back in the 1990s, to the extent that you didn't have interest rates spike. The same thing is happening with AI. Why? Because of this. Companies are using AI to cut expenses, okay? And as a result of cutting expenses, sometimes they're passing on the savings directly to us, right? There's a reason why we don't have mass inflation right now. There's many reasons. And so AI is probably the best thing that's happened to Western society from a commerce perspective since the Berlin Wall fell. Okay. Anyway, let me move on here. All right. What is going on with silver? Why is the world hoarding it so quickly? China, Russia, and Peru have more than 50% debatable of the world's reserves, while the U.S. has less than 3%. Is it a concern or a buying shot? Yeah. So silver and gold are at an all-time high, and there's a couple of reasons for this. So when it comes to Peru, they have a lot of deposits. I don't think they're buying very much, to be honest. But Russia and certainly China are buying this not out of silver as well as gold. So one of the reasons is silver. There's massive demand for silver because silver is used within data centers. Silver is also used for defense projects like Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, etc. Use a lot of that. And silver is also used for EV. Okay, those are three pretty big secular growth sectors, right? You got AI for data centers, you got defense, and then you've got EV. And if you think about it, 5 to 10 years, these three sectors will be much more in demand than they are today for obvious reasons. Now, if you look at the Chinese government and the Russian government, they're buying less of this stuff, right? And you can see it in the data, actually. So the Chinese government is buying fewer treasuries. I monitor this on a monthly basis. The UK just passed them to come in second or third in terms of buying our debt in the United States. So if you're the Chinese government, you're buying less of this stuff. And why the hell would you buy this anyway? You know, as patriotic as I am to the United States economy, and I believe in capitalism, certainly hate communist filth. Why would you buy this? If you think about the United States government, right? They printed like trillions and trillions of dollars more of this stuff in the past 5 years. And in fact, since COVID, the amount of this stuff here has increased by close to 50%. So what are you going to buy? Well, there's a couple things you can buy, right? So gold, That's one of them. And this is fake. I'm a fake teacher. Those who can't do teach, and those who can't teach gym class. And you know that's true about gym teachers. I'm kidding about real teachers, though. Yeah, so what are you going to do? You're going to buy more of this stuff. You're going to buy more cryptocurrencies, meaning digital gold or digital silver, which I humbly believe is Bitcoin. And you're going to buy more silver. That's it. And that explains why gold and silver are at all-time highs. And also, I believe that Bitcoin at one point in my life, maybe in 20 years, will be at least $1 million a coin. And I can explain how I get there if you want me to. I don't give a damn about the path. All I care about is the destination. Okay. We live in interesting times. How do you price gold and silver as there are no PE or price to revenue and no CEO, just commodity, whatever your views? Yeah. So I always love to invest in asset classes where supply is going down and demand is probably going up. Right. And so my grandfather, God bless him, who's up in heaven hanging out with my sister, Katie. I miss you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying your Tim Horton. My grandfather used to always say, Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore. The same thing with gold and silver. There's a limit. There's a dearth of supply. The same thing with Bitcoin. So how the hell do you value an asset class? It's really hard to do. But let me at least explain how I value and come up with my $1 million Bitcoin target price. Okay. So as I mentioned before, the amount of this stuff has increased a lot. Now, M2, which is a measure of the amount of currency in all major economies out there, is about $96 trillion today. Okay. And that's up from about $90 trillion since COVID. So as of today, about 3.5% of that $96 trillion is cryptocurrencies. Now, I believe that the amount of M2, meaning cash from all countries, fiat, is going to increase by about 5% per year over the next 20 years. So if you take $96 trillion, right, and you increase it by 5% over 20 years, that gets to about $250 trillion. Now, in 20 years, when we have $250 trillion of this crap here, cash is trash, I think that 10% of that will be Bitcoin. Okay, it's not a stretch. So 10% of $250 trillion is $25 trillion. And that's about a 10x return on Bitcoin from where it is today. That gets you to your $1 million price. Now, when do you buy Bitcoin? Well, I want you to be careful of FOMO, meaning fear of missing out. So you only buy assets when everybody is freaking out. So one of the only times I recommend looking at technical analysis or the relative strength index is for when you buy Bitcoin or an asset class. Okay. Always do your fundamental research, then valuation-based research, and then technical analysis. So let me go over here at Bitcoin. I'll show you exactly when to buy. All right, let's just go right here. And I'm going to go to finance.yahoo.com. Okay. And let's go to BTC USD. And I will show you right here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go here. I'm shocked it's so low. All right. And I don't ever want you to put more than 5% of your net worth in cryptos, please, because most cryptos are a scam. All right, so here's how you do it. All right. Down here, what I want you to do is I want you to look at the interval of, let's see here, they just changed this. Let's go to 3 months. Okay, hold on a second, guys, sorry. They literally just changed this. 1 month. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna look to see when the relative strength index is 20. Okay, and we haven't had it in a little while here. Right now, the RSI is 47. Once we get down to 20, and it will hit it at some point, I promise you, that's when you buy. Okay, we went there. Actually, I think we did hit it in April of last year when Trump first started talking about tariffs. So that's what you're going to do. And the same thing with any stock, right? So if we get Nvidia, you'll see the same thing. Nvidia hit an RSI of 20. I believe it was last April as well, April of 2025. You're watching the replay. And that's when Trump first talked about tariffs. Yeah, you can pull it up here. I don't want to waste your time with figuring out that charting system. Yeah. All right. Always tell yourself you can buy it cheaper. And be careful of FOMO, meaning fear of missing out. And the best advice I can give you, and I'm going to quote the greatest athlete in history, Wayne Gretzky, as a fellow Canadian, proud to be Canadian. So Wayne Gretzky was successful not because he skated to where the puck is, but rather because he skated to where the puck is going to be. By the same token, I want you all to invest in stocks that people are going to like. If you buy the same stock or asset class everybody already owns, there's not that many incremental investors to push it higher. So be like Mr. Buffett and be a contrarian and watch your net worth take off. And when you buy, I want you to assume, like Mr. Buffett does, that the market's going to be closed for at least 10 years. Okay, so when Warren Buffett bought Coca-Cola back around 1990, which he still owns today, he told himself, I'm assuming the market's going to be closed for 10 years. In fact, if you bought Coca-Cola during the IPO many moons ago, back in the 30s, wherever it was, you'd be down 50% 1 year later. But of course, you'd be up a lot more in the long run. Be a long-term investor and watch your net worth take off. And be a contrarian too. Okay. Next question is, can you talk a little bit about Enron and what happened, and did Kranos, or I think it's Chanos, yeah, made a killing with a short as explained in one of my Billions vlogs? Yeah, absolutely. So Enron, ticker ENE, was a fraudulent company. It went belly up. I think it was in 01 or 02 or something. I think it was 02, yeah. And I had friends that shorted it and never covered because it went bankrupt. So what happened with Enron was a couple of things. Number one, they hid a lot of their crap off balance sheet. Okay, and I'll show you how to look for this in a second so you can make a lot of money too shorting. Okay, what they also did was they had very bizarre revenue recognition policies. Okay, fraudulent. And then also they had different M10, meaning mark-to-market methodologies as well, fraudulent. Okay, let me show you very quickly how you can do investment research to find out the next Enron. Okay, all right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to my Forensic Financial Statement Analysis using AI course, okay? And what you're going to do is select your track, beginner, intermediate, genius, or all track, okay? Then you're going to enter in the ticker of the company you want to do investment research on. And then select your AI prompt level here. I usually do 10th grade, which is my maturity. And then you're going to answer just a ton of questions about the audit report, the income statement, the MD&A, balance sheet, footnotes, etc. And that's going to get you an executive summary. And this is a one-pager you can print out. You can bring it to your interviews and look like a rock star too, as well as a detailed report, right? And I use Apple as dummy data here, 24-page report. Bring this to your interviews as well. Now, with the executive summary, you can put it on the other side of your resume as well, look like $1 million. But this will help you to be able to uncover the next potential Enron. And a lot of it comes down to footnotes. So the way that footnotes work, I'll explain this very quickly because I don't want to bore you to tears, is, when you have footnotes, right, in like a book report or something, you put number one in brackets, etc., right? So it works like that with financial statements. So companies, they issue their annual report every year. It's called a 10K in the United States. And if you look at the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement, sometimes you'll see little footnotes. And the footnotes, there's usually 10 to 15 different categories I teach about. The footnotes will talk about what's not in those financial statements. And so what Enron did, a lot of companies do, is they hide a lot of crap that's not listed on the financial statement. So a lot of off-balance sheet debt, for example. Yeah. And the footnotes also, so companies have to, in their 10K, they have to disclose how much debt is coming due in the next 5 years, right? And you can't see that just by looking at a balance sheet. But that's what the footnotes do, and that's what I teach you. Yeah. Now, if you join my program, I teach you everything about finance, accounting, investing, business, every major business topic from scratch, assuming you have no experience. If you do have experience, finance and accounting experience, I want you to forget everything you've learned because I teach you from scratch. Okay, everything from scratch. Yeah. With a lot of props because it's more funner that way. Yeah. Okay, next question is, I did the math on the markets and found out that if I use 2x leverage, that means for every $1 you have $2 invested. Don't do that. If I use 2x leverage and a stock goes up 2x, I make a 4-bagger. Okay. So let me think about that. So if I have $100 to invest, right, but I borrow $100, it's now $200. If it goes up, that goes to 400. Okay, so you made $300. Yep. When I short the same leverage, the most I make is 2x, as the stock cannot go below zero. Yeah, it's just math. That's all, right? So you can't make more than 100% by shorting a stock. That's it, right? So if a stock gets cut in half, you make 50%. Or 100% if you use 2x leverage. But you definitely make more money on the upside. It's the same thing with puts and calls. You know, you can make a lot more money with calls. Yeah. When it comes to puts and shorting stocks, there's a limited amount of money you can make if the stock, hypothetically speaking, goes to zero, which is very rare, but happened in the case of Enron, which you asked about earlier today. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't recommend that you guys short stocks. Please don't do that. If you want to bet against a company, just buy puts. And I can explain that in more detail. And I actually teach you how to use 35 different option strategies as well in my program. Okay, so based on my work experience, I explain it from scratch using a lot of visuals as well. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go back now to. All right, and if you're just joining us live, please join me tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time on my YouTube channel for my 11th annual one-year MBA degree program open house. Everybody joins tomorrow will get 3 gifts, meaning 2 courses of mine and a book of mine for free. And 1 person on the webcast attending live will receive a 100% scholarship to my gold program. Yeah. If you want to purchase it now, if you want to, and space is limited, classes are smaller now, just go to 11thmbaclass.com. Or what you can do is you can set up a call with me by looking at the chat. And at the top of the chat, I pinned a comment which says, set up a Zoom with me to discuss joining the MBA program. Click that link. You'll talk to me and not one of my many people on my staff. Yeah. Okay. All right, next question is from Javesh, which is, hey, Chris, hey, bud. What experiences or habits helped you become so insightful? And who do you draw inspiration from? Yeah, my parents and Jesus. Yeah. So for me, one thing that's humbly helped me in my career, and I believe there's only one God, okay? But I'm going to say the following with love in my heart that I think will help everybody. Okay. I don't worry about career stuff, okay? I work very hard, right? I work insanely hard. I love what I do, right? I get up every day at 5 a.m., okay? I work 70 or 80 hours a week, and I don't work a second on Sundays. But I love doing what I'm doing, okay? I thoroughly enjoy it. But here's one of the reasons why I think I've had some humble success. I'm going to ask you guys 2 questions. And I think I know the answer. The first question is this. Do you believe in God? Yes, good. Number 2, does God believe in you? Yes, of course he does. Well, if you don't believe in yourself, you might have to question your faith. And we're never going to question our faith. Now, God knows what's going to happen. Doesn't that put you at ease from a career perspective? Like, think about all the times you freaked out in your life because you were worried about something that never came true. In fact, Sir Winston Churchill once said, I met a man on his deathbed who talked of all the worries he had in his life, none of which came true. It's not work that kills us. It's worry. So don't worry. God wants you to be happy every day. Enjoy today. It's why we're here. Don't worry about the past. You can't control it. When it comes to the future, don't worry. Just work hard. Everything's going to be okay. Think about Michael Jordan. Okay, so Michael Jordan, I'm going to show you a great quote from him in a second. When Michael Jordan was playing basketball, right, and he's way better than LeBron kids, okay? Okay, 6 rings versus, I don't even know how many LeBron has. But if you think about Michael Jordan, he's playing in front of millions of fans. Do you really think he's worried about what people think of him? Do you really think he's worried about tomorrow? No, he's living in the present. Here's the quote. I failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. I want you guys to stop caring what people think of you. I want you to start taking more risks. I want you to not worry about the future. Just work hard and be happy today. Don't you want to be happy? The most pathetic thing I hear, and I've been guilty of this too, guys, is I'm going to work my ass off my entire life so I can accumulate enough money so I can retire. Really? You're going to work hard every day and be miserable every day so you can enjoy the last 5 or 10 years of your life? Fuck that. I want you all to be happy today. Sorry for swearing, but I did that just for effect. Okay. All right. Next question from Javesh is, I have an idea for a software product, and I'm exploring how to bring it up to life, especially with patent costs involved. I trust your judgment. Would love to team up with you. Thank you. Yeah, if you want, you can sign up for my program. That's how you get my time. Thank you. Or don't sign up. Just ask me questions every week right here. Thanks. Yeah, and I don't invest in startups or anything. I'll show you what I do with my money. Okay. So what I do, my purpose, my raison d'être, is the following. I gave a TEDx talk years ago on how I think education can fix every problem in the world, and it's coming to fruition now. So I use my money to build schools, okay? So I'm building one now in Kenya. It's a school for girls. A couple of years ago, I finished one in Rwanda, always with my students. Yeah, and I'm building 1,000 of these things. Yeah, so that's us up on the roof. And when I say 1,000 of these things, look, if I was a quota-carrying sales rep, I'd be fired so many freaking times. Yeah, but anyway. As James Cameron said, who's a brilliant director, producer, writer of Avatar, if you set your goals really, really high and you fail, you still fail above everyone else's expectations. Okay. No limits. All right. Next up, Chegg's, a bookstore in NASDAQ, has revenue down 43% year over year. Does it tell us fewer people are reading books and relying on AI? And Samurai's answer, yeah. Yeah, I think online education and traditional education is in secular decline. That's right. Yeah. I do. Because of AI. So I think what's going to happen with education, online education, is the following, okay? And I'm only publishing courses on my website, okay? Nowhere else. Here's what's going to happen. People are going to use more and more AI and start taking fewer online courses, okay? And people are already doing that. My business is exploding the upside, and I'll explain why, though. The reason is because people are lonely. They're using AI to learn, but they want human interaction. So a sense of community is the future. And that's exactly what I built. And I believe that we are ahead of the curve here in my business. And that's why my business is growing very fast, but others, the Coursera's, Udemy's of the world, are not. And I'm going to show you here. So what I've done here is I've got my own community right here. Okay, I currently have in this cohort here 132 members. Okay, and everybody is very nurturing. Okay, they introduce themselves. I don't allow anybody in that's a schmuck. Everybody gets along great, and then everybody shares wins and progress as well. Okay, and we're all in this together. People get jobs, wins, customers. They share all this stuff as well. Your network is your net worth, and relationships are more important than product knowledge. And for those of you that want to join my MBA degree program, you'll be able to access all the classes here through this platform. Again, we start on January 26th. Classes are every Monday, Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. If you're interested in joining, you can see the link right here. Yeah. Okay. You know how long this took me to set this up? Yeah. All right. Anyway, I'll show you another camera angle. And yes, my desk is very messy, but I don't care. This is me. Okay. So here it is here. So I hung it up with fishing wire up top here. Yeah. So anyway, let me go back to the other angle. Here. Okay. All right. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Trying to get to questions here. I read everything. Hold on a second. All right, next up, Malcolm wrote, when utilizing good debt for real estate investments, is it possible to pay off the debt by selling a property in order to be debt-free in the end? Yeah. So my goal is that my clients, my students, all make way more money in 10 to 15 years from the real estate investment rentals than they do from their base salary. And what I recommend is you have to put down a minimum of 20% on all of your houses that you own, okay? And I don't ever recommend paying off all your debt. Whoa, why would I say that? Because you get an interest tax deduction, okay? I don't care what country you're in. This works in every country in the world. Works in America if it's your primary real estate investment, your primary home. You always got to have debt, so you can write that off. And it works in every country if you have investment rentals. You also get depreciation. That's a beautiful thing. Now, I'm going to talk about politics. Here I go. If you go back to the 2016 first televised debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton said, Trump, it's not fair. You're not paying taxes. What's up with that? And he said, well, I own real estate, so I get to use depreciation. I want you all to own a ton of real estate and rent it out. Okay. And I can help you understand which properties to buy. And I showed you that template a couple minutes ago. All right. Okay. Do you think the energy drink industry will still be relevant in 5 years? I think less so because of all the... I think that my grandchildren are going to one day say to me, I can't believe you guys drank sugar water. That's like smoking. So I think much less relevant. Yeah. But if you look at companies like Coca-Cola, ticker KO, Coca-Cola, about 45% of the revenue, I think, comes from Coke and Coca-Cola based products. They diversified nicely into water. I think they bought Dasani, a bunch of other stuff as well. Oh, when I was in Japan, actually, and I went to Nintendo World with my kids, it was so fun. When I was in Japan, there was Coca-Cola with fiber and vitamins in it as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. If you were 17, how would you have raised capital to invest? I'll tell you exactly what I did when I was 18. Okay. So 18, it was May of 1990. I got a $3,000 student venture capital loan from the Canadian government, the province of Ontario. It was interest-free, right? And I had to pay it back in September of 1990. I ended up paying it back 2 or 3 years later because I put it all into a venture capital investment in a company called Spectral Diagnostics. I did incredibly well on it humbly. Went public, I think the ticker was SDI on the TSX. I sold it in 1995. I don't know how the stock is doing now. But anyway, that's what I did. And then I invested in tech stocks and did well. Humbly made my first million when I was, I think, 18 or 19. Yeah. Okay. Humbly. Okay. All right, next up, what is something that can boost a growth portfolio? Yeah. I would say after you do investment research on a stock and you see it as a 5x5 using my methodology based on your research, not mine, then what you can do is you can buy leaps, which are call options that expire in 1 to 3 years, and you can get tremendous upside that way. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, do hedge funds use Sortino ratio? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I'm so sorry. Yeah. If you're a potential client and I work in the hedge fund industry, I'd probably make something up right now. No, I wouldn't. Just kidding. Okay. All right. Next up, Freyhus. First time seeing you on the call. Hope you join us again. Thank you. Wrote, hello, dear sir. Chris, please. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, and God bless you and your family. Tomorrow I will be there for the live event. I'll do my best to get the scholarship. Yeah. All right. I'll tell you how you can win the scholarship. Okay. I'm going to give out 1 gold scholarship, 100% scholarship to 1 person tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. On my channel here. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. And there's going to be a little bit of math in the question, and the first person to get the question right wins. You can't use ChatGPT. And I'll know if you do, because I'll be watching you. No. Yeah. Okay. Next question is it possible to short the real estate market? Absolutely. I was massively short the real estate market back in 2008. When we were within 24 hours, bank machines not working. I made a lot of money, especially in the month of October. The markets were down 20 or 30 or 40%. I was up a bunch. It was depressing, though. Every day I came into work in my hedge fund hoping bad news would occur. Yeah. So what I did was this. I shorted ticker LEN, that's Lennar, as well as KBH, that's the name of the company, and the ticker itself. And those are 2 home building companies. You can also short REITs, real estate investment trusts, but be careful if you do that, because when you short a stock with a dividend, you have to pay back that dividend too. So if the dividend yield on a REIT is 10% and you're short for an entire year, you owe that 10% plus the cost to borrow the short. Yeah, I don't recommend shorting stocks. If you want, you can just buy puts. Yeah, because if you buy a put, the most you can lose is what you paid for it. Yeah, hi, that's what a put looks like. Okay. All right, next question is, looks like Eric. And Eric, pleasure to meet you actually in person at the annual graduation event. I gave you a big hug. I remember that. Yeah. So Eric, who's in my gold program, I think he won the gold scholarship a number of years ago. That's right. I give out 1 per year. Wrote, Miami Hedge Fund Week 2026 will feature major events like Uncorrelated at the Ritz-Carlton, focusing on niche strategies. I will not be there, but I have been to the Ritz-Carlton there many times before. That's where I first met Mark Andreessen in 2003 at the Ritz-Carlton. Right there on when you walk out on Collins, make a left until Collins ends. The Ritz is right there. That's the first time I met him. And I remember I talking to Mark Andreessen at the time. And this is after he had left Netscape and before he started Andreessen Horowitz. And I asked him, first of all, I shook his hand. He's like 8 million feet tall, and I'm 6 feet tall. I remember asking him, I said to him, I was very nice. I said, you're an incredible inspiration for me. He was on the cover of Time magazine in his 20s. Remember that? I said, can you give me one piece of advice, one investment? And he said one word. He looked at me and he said, Skype, at the time. And then many years later, I was on the board of a company where his firm led the A round, my firm led the B round. And then we had an exit. I think VMware bought the company. So I've been on boards with Andreessen, with Sequoia, B round as well. And I've had a lot of fun. Yeah. Oh my God, I talk a lot. Okay. All right, next up, Wilson wrote, hi, Haroun. Hey, Wilson. What do you think of the position of a corporate banker? I'm not from a U.S. investment banker, practically not exists outside Europa and U.S. Let me see if I can understand the question and humbly help answer. Yeah, so if you want to work in investment banking, but at a company, you can work in their corporate finance departments and help out with M&A, etc. Yeah, it doesn't pay as much as investment banks do, but the hours are a lot better. Yeah, and it's a good track to be on if you want to eventually become CFO. Yeah, and that's what Ned Siegel did. So Ned and I worked at Goldman Sachs. We were on the same. I remember it was back in 1998, 99. I was working on the NTT Docomo IPO. Ned worked at Goldman. And then he switched to investment banking, and then became CFO of Twitter X and all that stuff. But I think he did corporate finance for a while as well. Same thing with Sarah Fry, who I used to work with at Goldman as well. I think she's now the CFO of OpenAI. She's a wonderful human being. I love her to death. Okay. And Eric wrote, Adobe was just downgraded because AI LLMs can do everything better and cheaper. Yeah, I guess you're talking about some sell-side firm downgraded. Yeah, sure. Okay, next question is, do you think young people will have a comfy life like your generation? And before that, because everyone is firing and not hiring. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but finance tech consultant. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit different. And for the rest of this webcast, I'm going to get my exercise in on my treadmill. Give me a second. I'm going to take off my jacket here. Okay. So in my generation, which is not the entitled generation, not that I'm saying any generation is, but my generation was kind of the last generation that understood what the word pension means. Okay. And I think that the younger generation today, they don't know what that means for obvious reasons, because they don't believe in lifetime employment. In fact, they believe in probably working multiple jobs at the same time, but not spending the rest of their life being someone else's bitch. And I say all this because what happened during COVID was a new thought process occurred from younger people, rightly so, who refer to themselves as YOLO, the you only live once generation. And I think it's a wonderful thing for the younger generation, for everybody watching this webcast, regardless of how old you are, to always have side hustles on the side so that you ultimately have control of your destiny, your life, etc. Everybody, please write business plans on the side. And the way you know you have a good business plan, right, for financial freedom purposes, is, I'll show you, if you finish the business plan. So as part of my MBA degree program, I have a venture capital boot camp. And I help you write your entire business plan, as well as your presentation slides. The biggest, most important part of your business plan is financial statements, because without data, you got nothing. Yeah. And this is all part of the venture capital boot camp right here, which is part of the MBA degree program. We cover this in the third semester. Okay. I love my life. All right. Next, Mallory, how are you? Great to see you, Mallory. My thoughts and prayers are always with you and your family. I know what you guys are going through. I went through it a couple of years ago, too. Mallory wrote, Happy New Year's, dear Chris. Wishing you and your family a fantastic 2026. Excellent. Thank you. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you much in classes. I hope I see you today in about an hour at 10 a.m. for our daily office hours. Today's call is 3 hours and 20 minutes Zoom. Hope to see you there. Thanks. Yeah. Give your dad a big hug, and your sister a bigger one, your mom too. Yeah. Lots of love. Lots of love. Yeah. And Mallory actually introduced me to this process right here. So I'm going to show you what this is here. So this here, so I get my 20,000 steps a day here. And then I put this on as well. This is 20 pounds. And I want to warn you, Mallory, don't ever wear this if you go swimming, because it's not going to help you, okay? This is not a life preserver, okay? Yeah, but I wear this when I get my steps in now, my steps. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, are cutting costs even top engineer bankers are worried? Yeah, please type it in a way that I can read it. Thank you. Okay. The RIA will pay me a 50-50 commission split on clients I bring in with fees of 1 to 1.5%, no base salary. It's a small firm. What do you think about it? My first year as an IAR. Yeah. So, okay. So let me first of all explain private wealth management and why I think this is the best career for anybody that wants to work in finance, maybe any career period. So the way that private wealth management works is all firms like Goldman Sachs, Schwab, other firms you haven't heard of that are financial services firms, they have private wealth management departments. And it's like you're a stockbroker for rich people, but not just a broker for stocks. You give advice on tax stuff as well as real estate, trust, etc. And the way that industry works, generally speaking, per your question, is you get 1% fee every year of the assets you bring in. So if you manage $100 million, you get $1 million in fees every year. Now, I think it's a great job for two reasons. Number one, it's very sad to say, but in the next couple decades, we're going to see the biggest generational transfer of wealth in history as the baby boomers move on. It's very sad. Secondly, I think that job is AI proof, and I'll tell you why. We don't trust technology or AI when it comes to sales or money. And in order to AI proof yourself, I think you have to be tied to direct sales and or money management. And PWM, meaning private wealth management, checks both those boxes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. How do you use derivative pricing in real estate? Yeah. Yeah. Eric asked me during Zoom, because I know you're a premium customer in an hour. We could talk about that. Thanks. Yeah. And I do know the answer. Yeah. It's just technical. That's all. All right. Next question is, how do you make yourself different while applying for scholarships in university? Like you did something different with University of Havana. Yeah. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So, all right. So what you have to do, and Manas, I know that you're applying, and you publicly disclosed before, to get a job or to get a psychology degree. You're a premium client. Ask me about this in an hour, and I will help you write your essays, letter recommendation, etc. But what you need to do is you got to put yourself in the mind of the admissions committee, okay, and diversify the student body. And one way you can do that is by talking about that AI product you made to help people with mental health, spirituality, etc. And you disclosed it. You showed me a sample of that. You can write about that in one of your essays, because I guarantee you nobody else applying has done anything like that. Yeah. Now, for me, when I applied to business school 8 million years ago, I wrote an essay about what I did, which was I went on exchange in Havana, Cuba. And I remember at that time, I was Canadian, right? I am Canadian, proudly. No Americans were allowed to even be in Cuba then. So I knew I was diversifying the student body by mentioning that in my application, even though I knew it was a double-edged sword. I took a risk, calculate risk. All right, Mallory wrote, can you explain what you mean by RSI of 20 when you're referring to buying Bitcoin at this point? Yeah, so what I mean by that is this. So if you look at the chart of any stock or any asset class, anything that's publicly traded on the market, I should say, mathematically, if way more people are selling versus buying within a 1 to 2 week time frame, what happens is the relative strength index, RSI, and you can search this up and look at the chart for any stock, gets to 20, which means too many people are selling in a short amount of time. And what happens eventually, if the fundamentals are there, is you get mean reversion and it bounces back. Yeah. And if you have more questions, your premium client as well, I can go through real examples during our Zoom call later today. Thanks. I've been watching and talking to you for a while now. Let me just close the drapes here. Okay, just kidding. And I see something that you're getting younger year on year. Knock on wood. Thank you. How is that seriously not making this up? You're more happy and cool. No, thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just kind of I'm just happy, I guess. No, I do a lot of biohacking. My heart actually is, it's 8.5 years younger than me. A year ago, it was 4.5 years younger. And I monitor it every single day using my Oura ring, O-U-R-A. And so right now it's, yeah, it's 8.5 years younger. I don't know if you guys can see the app here. Let me see if I can show you here. All right, let's go here. And then maybe I'll try to increase the brightness here. I'll show you how I monitor my life. It's hard to see. But anyway, right here, it's 8.5 years younger. So I just don't worry anymore. I'm just happy. I don't know. I'm just happy. And I'm a biohacker as well. So I try to drink a lot of water. I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink any less. Sorry. Oh, a couple things I've changed in the past 6 months, actually. Yeah. A few things. So I stopped taking Zyn. So I did this for a while. It was, and the reason I was taking it, please don't do this, guys, okay? It's not tobacco, it's just nicotine that really helps you to think quicker and stuff, but there's side effects to your heart. So I stopped this. It wasn't that bad before. Anyway, don't do it, guys. What I also did was the sauna. This is big. So 3 times a week, I go to a sauna. And I'll show you where I go. And I ordered one for my house as well, a badass one, humbly. Beam Sauna. And you guys can find these all over the world. Okay, it might be a different brand name. But this is the one I go to. And I swear by it. So you get, I mean, I do light therapy as well. But I do sauna. It helps with metabolism, everything. Wow, 600 calories in one sauna session. That's unbelievable. Yeah. So I do this 3 times a week. And I ordered a badass one for my house. It's being pre-built right now. We get it in June. What I also do, and that helps a lot with my sleep, right? Another thing I do, which is different, is I do lymphatic draining. So when I go to Beam, that sauna place, there's plenty of knockoffs just like it. I stand for 15 minutes on this machine that vibrates like crazy, and it does lymphatic draining. And what that means is this. So the best way to explain it, this is hard for me to understand, is we all have a river in our body, okay? And the river gets rid of toxins. And if you do lymphatic draining, which is a machine you stand on, vibrates for like 15 minutes or whatever, it will drain those toxins. So you're vibrating. It's like Richard Nixon. Remember he goes, "I'm not a criminal." Yeah. So I do that. And then another thing I've done is I bought a special bed. And I'm a nerd. You guys know that. But I'll show you. It's called 8 Sleep. So I bought the premium version of this as well. It's kind of crazy. But it really helps. And what it does is it actually... So the temperature changes during the evening if I start to snore or if I start getting out of deep sleep. The temperature changes and the bed actually moves a bit as well. It adjusts. And I learned about this from my favorite podcaster, which is Joe Rogan. Love that guy. Anyway, so, yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for that comment. All right. Next question is, what does more tech layoffs mean? Meta fired tons of people, around 1,000. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And I have a very senior client that used to work at Meta as well. And yeah, it's more coming too, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So what's happening right now with tech companies is this. So the worst thing you can possibly do with your career is be a developer. And even Jensen Huang, the brilliant, founder and CEO of Nvidia, said, AI was created for that, for programming, developers. Don't do it. So all of these firms are gutting tons of people that are developers. So the best thing you can do in your career is somehow be tied to sales. That's it. Yeah. 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 Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Fewer people will be needed for jobs. But don't freak out. Don't worry. Just, I don't know, use AI to be more productive yourself. And Manas, you already have. I've seen some of your projects on the side, your agents you built, which are incredible. Yeah. But don't fear technology, guys. I mean, back in the 1980s, I remember everybody was worried about, Japanese just-in-time management and robotics, and, we all adapted. And let's not forget that, 100, 200 years ago, 99% of the workforce was agriculture, and we have machines, and we don't have to do that no more anymore. And, people freaked out in 1999 when Google was first released in beta. The skeptics said, well, we don't have to think anymore. Google will do it for us. And then in late 2001, Wikipedia was released, and the same skeptics were like, well, you're not going to go to the library anymore. You just research online. It's a good thing, isn't it? And the same people, talked about, or they're talking about AI now taking away all of our jobs. Look, this is a good thing. It's a good thing because we're going to do a lot more with a lot less. We can work smarter, not harder. And we'll always adapt. We always will. Don't worry. And if you're really worried about it, then try to start your own company or get a sales job. Because I think you're AI proof if you get a sales job. Yeah. Okay. Let me step up the intensity a bit here. Okay. Tesla is struggling in India very badly. Company could not sell 300 vehicles the past half year or so. Really? And giving tons of discounts. What does this mean about them penetrating the Indian market? Yeah. So in India, I would say it's all predicated on competition from Tata as well as longer term from BYD. So BYD, great Chinese company, EV company, they make a product half the price of Tesla. That's twice as good. You don't see them in America right now for import tariff reasons. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Akash wrote, will we go into a market crash in February? I have no idea. And I worked for the biggest tech hedge fund on the planet many years ago. After I was at Citadel, I joined a firm called Pequot, and I worked for a guy named Art Sandberg. And Art Sandberg, I remember we were talking about a market crash in 06. And I think it was July of 06, we were talking about shorting Lennar, ticker LEN, and KBH. And he stopped us in our thesis. And he said, son, I've been around long enough to understand never to stand in the way of insanity. Markets crash, markets peak. You can't time it. Nobody knows, man. And if anybody tells you they know, they're full of shit. It's true. The worst thing you can do is listen to economists. Economists have successfully predicted 9 of the past 4 recessions. Yeah, and everything is random, right? So what's going to cause the market to crash one day is a black swan event. What's a black swan? Well, a black swan's very rare. You don't see them unless you're in Tasmania. But Nassim Taleb, who's brilliant, he wrote this book, and he said that a lot of times market crashes occur for stuff you can't forecast, like COVID. Could you have forecasted COVID? Could you have forecasted 9/11? Yeah. And you can't be a day trader either. And day traders, and people hate me for saying this, but I say it with love in my heart because I give a shit, okay? There's no such thing as a day trader that's been successful for many decades. Give me their name, please. They don't exist. And the reason is because every month has 20 weekdays, meaning 20 days in which the markets are open. What causes stocks to go up and down within 20 days? Well, it's usually some random thing like what Trump says, or I don't know what the price of oil is, or geopolitical uncertainty, or I don't know, a bellwether like Nvidia. We'll talk about guidance. You can't forecast this stuff, and so you just have to be a long-term investor. So I don't know. I don't know what the market's going to be doing in February or tomorrow or next week. I don't really care. And you got to tell yourself this. I don't care about the path. I care about the destination, and just be long-term focused. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Matt wrote, "Hey Chris, hey bud, have you ever?" That's my son's name, Matt too. And Matt Matthew, this is them when they were younger. Is Hebrew for gift from God. Yeah, and he was a gift from God. Okay. Have you ever played Liar's Poker? I saw your recent Instagram post about it. LOL. I played around with it. Yeah. So Liar's Poker. So for those of you that have seen the movie The Big Short, great movie, right? Well, it's actually based on a book called The Big Short. And Michael Lewis wrote The Big Short, which is sort of like part two. Part one is Liar's Poker, sort of. It's a great book written back in the 80s. And the way that Liar's Poker works is as follows. You have a dollar bill, okay, not a big one like this, a single dollar bill. And you look at the serial number, and somebody else has a dollar bill, and a serial number. And then you kind of say, how many number twos do you have? How many number threes? And you BS, and whoever calls the bluff wins, kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite video game? Okay, yeah. Well, let me first of all say, when, not if, but when GTA 6 comes out later this year, you ain't going to see me for a month, okay? It is what it is. Yeah. I do love the GTA series. And for those of you who haven't played GTA Vice City, it's Miami, but you got to play it before GTA 6 comes out. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. In terms of what games I'm playing now, I recently finished Donkey Kong Bonanza. Fucking masterpiece. It's great. And I went to Nintendo World with my kids. My wife, we were in Kyoto, Osaka, Tokyo over the Christmas holidays. We had fun. Let me show you. I'll show you my family if you guys are curious. They're a lot older now. In terms of games, the reason I liked that Donkey Kong Bonanza a lot is because the same programmers that made Odyssey, Mario Odyssey, made that game. But let me show you here. I'll show you in the feed here. Picture in Tokyo. Yeah. And this here is the our social network for my MBA program. You sign up, you get all my courses here. There's an app for it as well. And just everybody is very nurturing and friendly here. But I'll show you a picture here. Is it? No. Here it is here. We are in Tokyo. Yeah, that's right. This picture was in Kyoto. So there's Andrew, my son. He works in investment banking at Berkeley. Here's my other son, Santa Barbara. He works in private wealth management. That's Matthew. That's Christine, my wife, of course. And that's Dylan, who's 16 going on 40. Yeah. But anyway, that was Kyoto. Yeah. We saw geishas that night as well. And maki as well, which are geishas in training. GIT. Okay. Give me 1 second. Were you always this badass? No. I've always been a nerd, though. And cool? No. Or you got scared except for a time when Ballmer bullied you? How did you overcome self-sabotage? I'm shocked somebody remembered that. Yeah. So Steve Ballmer, who is the CEO of... Okay, I'll tell you what was it Manas is referring to there. I must have mentioned that in one of my videos years ago. Okay. So I met Bill Gates a number of times. I would go up every year to the analyst event at Microsoft, 2003, 2004, etc. And then it was an annual event, and their analyst day event. And Steve Ballmer, who's the CEO, I'll never forget this. Okay. It was 2004, July. I think it was July. And I was sitting front row. There's about 500 analysts there. I worked at a big hedge fund. And I was sitting there. It was like 1:05 p.m., which meant that it was after 4 p.m. A bunch of my companies reported earnings like Citrix, ticker CTXS, which I called Shetrix because I was short, I think. I can't remember. So I'm updating my financial models. And Bill Gates is right there. And Steve Ballmer, the CEO, bully, is up there presenting to all the analysts. And the media's there. Everyone's there. And I'm updating my model. I'm front row center, a little bit off to the right, working quietly, updating my financial model for Citrix that exploded. I was short, I think. And Steve Ballmer's talking. And he stopped talking. And I was like, shit. Why is he not talking anymore? As I'm quietly updating my Excel model. And I'm like, oh my God, he's standing right fucking in front of me. So I'm like, I look up. I'm scared. And he stopped talking. Bill Gates is behind him sitting down, along with Maffei, I think, who was the CFO at the time. And he's staring at me like that fucking bully he is. Yeah. He's staring at me. And everything is silent. And I'm like, oh shit. And so I stare back. And it felt like 30 seconds or years went by. And I'm staring, and it's a fucking staring contest. And I'm staring back at him. And I keep staring. And then all of a sudden I looked away because I got scared. And then he continued. Yeah. That's a Steve Ballmer thing for me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. But in my MBA degree program, I teach you guys a lot about personal growth as well. The reason I started this company actually over a decade ago is because I introduced Tony Robbins to one of my portfolio companies in venture capital. I humbly invested in Facebook Palantir, and venture capital did well. And Mr. Robbins convinced me to do what I do. So in my MBA degree program, there's 6 pillars. One of them is personal growth. Yeah. Which I teach. Yeah. When one teaches, 2 learn. Okay. Hey, Chris, I was curious to know if you've come across the Predictive History channel yet. I have not. How interesting is that? So it predicts what the future is going to be? We'd be interested to hear your thoughts on Shanghai's perspective on the current global power dynamics. I've not. Predictive History channel. But what I would say is that, and I'll make a note of it, I'll check it out, thank you. What I will say is don't freak out when people are selling you doom and gloom. They're always wrong. You know, even smart people, like the founder of Bridgewater, don't believe them. Ray Dalio, they're not right. Don't listen to economists either that talk about doom and gloom. They don't know. Their brain's on a stick. Unlike me, I'm just a stick. Don't listen to the media either when the media says, find out why the world's going to end after this commercial break. And always do your own research. The power of positive thinking will really help you a lot in life, I promise you. And I want you guys to cut off people in your life. Fire your friends who are negative. They serve no purpose, right? Okay. Do you think a war with Iran is on the horizon? Just in case, what does this mean for oil and speculative assets? Also, do you think BRICS is losing in all of this? I don't think a war is coming. I don't. Yeah. Just keep in mind that Trump he's really good at negotiating, but just don't focus on what Trump says, please. Focus on what he does. Yeah, I don't think a war is coming. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. If it were to occur, oil, you ask what would happen. Well, the price of oil would go up materially, of course, which would help Russia. Fuck that. I don't want to help Russia with Ukraine because they're financing their war with oil. Yeah, that's the worst thing it can do is the U.S. attack Iran. Price of oil goes up, which helps Russia. I don't want that. Communism bad. All right, next question is thoughts on BRICS. So BRICS was invented by Jan Hatzius, who I used to work with at Goldman Sachs, an economist, really nice guy. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa was added not too long ago. I love India, love Brazil, love South Africa. Fucking hate communism. Okay, not the Russian people or Chinese people at all, but I think communism is filth. I do. Yeah, and I think one of the reasons that the United States had military operations in Venezuela was because communist bad, capitalism good. And I can talk about that in more detail if you want me to. Yeah. I miss the days of Ronald Reagan. That guy was my hero. Okay. Okay. Would adding Greenland to the mainland of states be a good call? You can skip this if you don't want to ask. Does not influence. Yeah. So I think people are misjudging why Trump is doing that. I think Trump's saying that he's going to take Greenland no matter what are missing the point. I don't think that they're going to take Greenland. I think it's a way for Trump to tell the rest of the world, don't mess with us. Don't touch Taiwan. Don't invade another country after invading Ukraine. That's what he's doing, I think. I'm not saying right or wrong. Look, I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for Kamala either. Yeah. What I hated about Kamala, what really I really think hurt her, was little things like her saying, how dare we say Merry Christmas? I think God belongs in school. God belongs in government. God belongs in all of our lives. It's the reason we're here, right? And our job is to, all of us, make this world a little bit better of a place than when we entered it. We're here to serve others. Yeah. And God bless freedom of speech. God bless you more for his. Thank you. Okay, Izzy wrote, hi, Chris. As a Canadian non-MBA, and MBA, what does that stand for? Married but available? I'm just kidding. I'm joking. That was a joke. How do I signal CEO readiness, bridge M&A opportunity gaps, overcome the first money hurdle to raise search capital as an LLM grad? Tell you what, Izzy. Set up a call with me, okay? So if you go to the very, very top, you'll see that you can click a link, or just go to, I'll show you where to go to if you want to set up a call with me. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to harounmba.com/meeting right there. And it's going to URL forward here. Just set up a call with me here. Yeah, I think I've got one slot today if you want. Yeah. Okay. And that will be me, nobody else. Yeah, I love talking to my students. Okay. Burry, meaning Michael Burry, is shorting a ton of Nvidia. I thought he shut down his fund November 11th. Burry is shorting a ton of Nvidia and more AI according to his thesis. These hardware tools get old and are useless in under 3 years. He has logic. There are also severs have a... Yeah. I'd be careful with... Okay, people that make a lot of money being short the market, like John Paulson in 08, or if you look at Michael Burry in 08 as well, they tend to be one-trick ponies. Because logically, the market is up, 15% per year on average. Yeah, there's big down years, right? But if on average the market is up, and if you're a short seller, you're probably not going to make very much money except for 1 or 2 crazy years. Yeah. Okay. Gunny Gunster wrote, Chris, just recently found your channel. No questions. Just want to say thanks for all the content. You're the GOAT. Thank you. I appreciate that. God bless you. Thank you. Gunny Gunster. I like that name. Very cool. I remember that. Thank you. Okay. Next up, I'm 21. I finished college in computer science. I took your financial analyst course on Udemy. Thank you. That was a course I made like 10 years ago or something. Yeah. If you guys want to watch my courses, go to my website. I'm no longer making courses anywhere else. Yeah. I don't need it. Okay. You wrote, what is the fastest way to earn money? It may or may not relate to finance, but by not working for some company, my ultimate goal is to own my own business, multiple businesses. Yeah. A couple things. Number 1, thank you. Number 2, I'm trying to think what to say next now. I recommend that before you start a company, always write a business plan. Okay. Now the business plan, you're going to start with the management team. Then you talk about the product, the service, competition, go-to-market strategy, yada, yada, sales, marketing. Most important thing, though, is financial statements. I help you to forecast this. I'll export your business plan with you, and I'll help you to raise money, too. I've raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. I don't ever want you guys to use your own money. when you're starting a company. You get high net worth investors to do it. I will help you to do it. If you're interested in learning more, I teach that in my MBA degree program. And if you'd like to join, and here's what it looks like here, okay? And you get access to an incredible network. You can set up a call with me. Just go to harounmba.com/meeting to set up a call, or just join tomorrow, or go to this link here to buy the product. Actually, don't buy it today because I'm going to give away one free scholarship tomorrow. You never know. You got you have a chance to win it tomorrow on my webcast. And for those of you listening on Spotify, etc., on my YouTube channel tomorrow, January 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I'm holding a webinar. Everybody on the call will get access to 3 free gifts: 2 courses of mine, a book of mine, and 1 person will win a scholarship. To win the scholarship, you have to be on the live call. If you guys missed the live call, you can always go to my YouTube channel and watch the replay. Yeah. Okay. This is the 11th MBA degree program I'm launching. Okay. Okay. All right. Next up, do you support the wealth tax like California is doing? Newsom, who's made tons of billionaires, are leaving. When are you leaving? Whoa. When am I leaving the left coast? I mean the west coast? I didn't say that. I was thinking that. I did say that. Do I think that? Yes. Yeah, taxes are way too freaking high here. It's a joke. You know, a lot of people are going to Texas, etc. And I feel for you guys in Texas, especially those in Austin. You know, I think Matthew McConaughey said it best. Uh-oh, I'm getting political. Here I go. When he said, y'all are welcome to come to Texas. Just leave your politics at home. Yeah. So I do vote Democrat or Republican, depends on the candidate. I did not vote in the most recent election. I think taxes are insanely high here. I think it's borderline criminal. Yeah. Yeah. I hope Larry becomes the next governor and cuts taxes. He's great. I met him before a number of times. Really good guy. He was running Tipping Point, which is the West Coast version of the Robin Hood Foundation. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah. Okay. All right. When am I leaving California? I'm happy here. I have friends here. More importantly, my kids have friends here, and I'm here to serve my kids and my wife, and I'm happy. But F the taxes. I've thought about Florida. Like Tony Robbins was based here in California. He was in San Diego for many, many years. And he moved a decade or so ago to Florida. I don't blame him. Yeah. So I've thought about it. I've thought about, I own a bunch of houses, maybe, I don't know, an office in Florida. Although I'd have to live there for 6 months and 1 day, which I don't mind doing, just not in the summer, it'd be too hot. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I move back to Canada. Yeah. Always an option. Okay. Okay. What are your opinion about all the RAM manufacturing company stocks? It all depends on the management team. You know, like of course, ticker MU, Micron, I'm a big fan. But you got to look at commoditization as well. You got to do bottoms up analysis first. And the way to do that is using my 100-step process, which you can do. Yeah. And you'll see that I don't pound the table and tell you guys what stocks to buy. That would be disingenuous and criminal of me too, I think. Not criminal, but you know, it's give a person a fish to eat for a day, teach a person how to fish to eat for a lifetime. Kind of like that. Yeah. And if you're just joining live, you're watching this, I'm wearing a 20-pound weight vest. Yeah. All right. Next up, did you know Tata and Mahindra sell a third of cars combined as compared to Suzuki? Tata is their largest car manufacturer. Fun fact. Yeah, I thought it was bigger than that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then Perry Jameson. Oh, it just skipped on me. Give me a second here, guys. Perry Jameson wrote, "Great videos you have. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Very, very cool. Thanks, Perry. God bless you, dude. Thanks." PJ. Sure your buddies call you PJ? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Tariff on nations that trade with Iran. 25% would mean 50% in China, 75% in India. Will the rest of the three? Yeah. So just keep in mind that Trump, don't focus on what Trump says, focus on what he does. Okay? Always. Right? He's a master negotiator. Usually when two people negotiate, right? They're debating, negotiating, whatever. Party A says, give me this. Party B says, give me this. And they meet here. With Trump, it's different. Party A says, give me this. Trump says, give me this. And then they meet here. Yeah. He can, love him or hate him, he can negotiate. Yeah. Yeah. And so if you look at what happened with tariffs last year, like the market was up a lot last year, 16%. It was great. GDP grew much more than expected. Crime was down 20%. What's not to like? Yeah, I know some people are saying, yeah, but inflation numbers aren't real. Numbers are numbers. And, you know, he didn't, again, focus on what he says, not what he, or on what he does, not what he says. Because tariffs did go up last year, but maybe half as much as expected. Yeah. Okay. And then thank you for everything, my mentor. God bless your family and all. Thank you around, even Project Africa too. See you in a few minutes. So thank you. God bless you. Namaste. And God bless you as well. Thank you. And that was Manas, who I think is from Calcutta, where one of my heroes is from, Mother Teresa. Okay. Do you think if the video game industry would go down a lot if all tech companies focus fully on AI? No, because I don't think it's that many years in the future where I can go to AI and say, put in this exact prompt. Make a game. I'm going to make this up. Make a game based on Mars and in Mississauga as well, where the main character is Mario. Make it like Halo, but include elements of Fortnite and include aspects of Donkey Kong as well. Invite my 20 best friends per my address book and allow me to use my AR goggles as well and my treadmill so I can get exercise when we play. Survival of the fittest. Whoever wins is the person that gets shot last. Make this game. Go. Boom. Now I'm playing. Sounds crazy, right? It's going to happen. How fun. I can't wait for the future. The future is now. There's so much to live for, man. Yeah. People say, when I retire, I'm going to golf. I'm like, fuck that. When I retire, I'm going to play video games. That video game I just mentioned. And I empower all of you to do what I do, which is walk. It's good for your heart, and it'll help you. So what I do is this. So the way I came up with this methodology, the craziness of what I've evolved to today, is as follows. When I was younger, I remember that the first hour of each day when I was studying was the most productive. And when I tried to cram for 10 hours at night, it sucked. I wasn't as productive as the first hour. Then I realized, hey, if I walk all fucking day, if I exercise all day, I whistle while I work, then I feel like I just woke up. I trick my brain. So I multitask. And I recommend you guys do this as well. These treadmills are quite cheap. You can get them for close to $100 now. And a stand-up desk for like $150. And my desk goes up and down. When I first got this, I told myself, okay, I'm going to have a clean desk now, because a clean desk is a happy desk. It's just bigger and it's more messy. That's it. Yeah. 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 Okay. Let me switch camera angles. Okay. How am I doing on steps now? I wear my Apple Watch in my pocket, and the reason I do is because if it's on my wrist and I'm typing, it doesn't count as a step. If you can't measure it, it didn't happen, right? So steps today, what am I at now? I'm only at about 2,000 steps so far. So I got to get to 20,000, which I will. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Okay. Have I been to China? Yep, a few times. Yeah, I went on business. I used to meet with all the video game companies. I met with, on one trip, I remember I went to Tokyo, met with the CFO of Nintendo, met one-on-one with them. Then I went to South Korea, then Shanghai, met with Shonda, the Nine, etc. I remember my last trip there, I remember meeting with the infrastructure company that took care of World of Warcraft in Shanghai. And I remember asking at the time, I said, why is it that China is massive with computer gaming, right, as opposed to console gaming? Why is it such a big deal? And it was bigger than the United States at the time. And the reason was fascinating. The person, Hannah was her name, CFO of the Nine, I remember, I met with her. She said, well, the reason is that in China, up until recently, they had a one-child per family policy. Now, in the United States, after dinner, you go in the backyard and you play with your brothers and sisters. But in China, given the former one-child per family policy, you can't go and play in the backyard with your brothers and sisters. You don't have them. So you play online. Okay. Do you think there's enough support from the people in the United States for us to put boots on the ground if China invades Taiwan? I pray that doesn't happen. I don't think it happens. And I think Trump threatening Greenland can be used as a peace tactic to offset that, if you read between the lines. Yeah. Same thing with Venezuela. Yeah. Yeah. I'm an optimist always. Sean wrote, here's a great quote. The closer you are to the money, the more you make. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like, I don't know, if you work in the video game sector, you get access to free video games. If you work in the money sector, money management, you get access to more money. It's just the way it works. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any strategies for developing the skill to learn faster? Yeah. A lot of biohacking, like I'm doing right now. Okay. So what I do, the way to absorb a lot more information faster is to treat this thing right. The body's a temple, right? And so exercise helps a lot. Like you always see people that are in great shape that are very successful. Well, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Are they successful because they exercise or the other way around? Oof. So I believe in biohacking. I talk a lot about it in my program, the personal growth modules of my program. Okay. So, for example, I've been drinking bulletproof coffee for more than a decade, brain octane. Okay. Every Sunday, I create 7 of these. This is greatest hits of all the antioxidants in the world. I consume one of these every day as well. It's just, all it is water. I put some flavor packets in it so it tastes better, more better. You learn faster when you treat this gooder. Yeah, better. Yeah. And you got to be doing what you're passionate about too. And I kind of feel like my purpose on this earth, like we're here to serve others, right? But I'm your waiter. Okay, so when you go to a restaurant, this is where I proposed to my wife 8 million years ago. In Paris, she said yes. Yeah. When you go to, I'm your waiter, okay? When you go to a restaurant, you look at the whole menu, eh? You only order 1 or 2 things, but you look at the whole menu. That's my job, is to introduce you to the menu of all jobs in business. Then you pick what you're most passionate about. And once you do what you love doing, like what I do, and I love doing what I'm doing, clearly, you'll never have a job for the rest of your life. And you'll live longer, too. Yeah. It's a win-win. Okay. Let me see how many more questions I can crank out. Can you believe this is the 346th week I've been doing this? I love this. I do this forever. Okay. If you start over and young, would you focus on finance investments or try to make your own startup, any kind of business? Yeah. Yeah. couple things. Number one, the average life expectancy today is 26 years longer than it was in the 1950s. So I'm not 53, I'm 27. Yeah. So if I were to start over today, it'd probably be entrepreneurship. I probably have something to do with finance because I am passionate about finance. One of the reasons I love finance is because you're always learning, right? You're always learning. Yeah. But probably something to do with finance and my own company as well. Okay. All right. On the topic of taxes, I'm aware that people in the United States, lower middle to lower class, middle class, are getting increasingly angry at the concentration of wealth among multiple things. Your thoughts? Yeah. Yeah. So look, I am a capitalist, but I'm a realist too. It's not fair that billionaires pay less in taxes. Okay? It isn't. It's just because the way the tax code is set up. So I'll give you an example. Back in 2007, Jeff Bezos, who's already a billionaire many times over, not only did he not pay tax in 2007, but he got $16,000 back in his tax return. That's $4,000 for each of his 4 kids. And the reason why is because you have to have a taxable event in order to pay taxes. So if you're a billionaire and you have a lot of shares in your company, but you don't sell any shares, you're not paying taxes. And what a lot of billionaires do, I think Larry Ellison, these types of people do the following. They borrow against their stocks, live their lavish lifestyle, and they get to write off the interest on what they're borrowing, and they just live that way. I think there needs to be tax reform to the extent that if you're a billionaire, you need to pay at least 10% per year taxes. At least. It's only fair. You look at Warren Buffett, I think he paid less than 1% tax per year on a normalized basis over 20 years. It's not fair. And he even said himself it's not fair that his assistant pays like 30% tax. That's not fair. So I think we need to have tax reform. We do. Yeah. But we need to still incentivize people to want to start companies, which creates jobs, which helps the economy, which makes everybody richer. Yeah. Okay. Wall Street moves to Florida. Yep. CBOE, Chicago Board of Exchange, moved to Florida. Washington, D.C. moved to Florida. No income tax, no real estate taxes. Yeah. Yeah. I think the second biggest financial capital on the planet at one point in my life is going to be Miami. It'll be New York, Miami, London, and the rest. Chicago, nowhere to be seen. Yeah. People are voting with their feet. All right, Marita, first time I've seen you on the call. Hope you join us again. Wrote, I'm a single mom, God bless you, with 2 boys here from South Africa. Excellent. I have a lot of clients in South Africa. Full-time educator and department manager. School keeps me extremely busy, but salary is not paying the bills anymore. Tips for financial solutions. Yeah, set up a call with me. I'd love to help you out. Yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you how to set up the call. Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to harounmba.com/meeting. Okay. Or click the link in this chat or description and set up a call. All right, my audio went down. I hope it just went down. So I've got backup here, which is my Blue Yeti. Only the paranoid survive. Here's my backup plan. Give me 1 second. This happens sometimes. Let me turn it on this version here as well. So plus audio, Yeti, add, and we're back. Great. All right, and let me see if I can boost this a bit. All right, 1 second. I'm going to boost it to 135. Okay. And if that's too loud, let me know, but I think we're good to go now. Okay, great. Check, check, check. Okay. And if that is too loud, y'all gotta let me know. Okay, great. All right, next question. Yeah, so Marita, if you missed what I was saying, just click here in the chat at the top there and book a call with me. I'd love to help you out. Yeah, and I think what you can do is you can teach online as well. You're an educator, and that will help you make money. And a lot of people, they want their kids to be doctors or, God forbid, lawyers. And the reason is because doctors and lawyers make money. But the problem with being a doctor or a lawyer, you're going to love this next part. The problem with being a doctor or a lawyer is you can only have one customer or one patient at a time. If you're an online educator, teacher like I am, you can have millions of potential customers at the exact same time. It costs you nothing. Set up a call with me, and I'll help you out. Yeah. For free, of course. All right, Charitra wrote, hi, Chris. How you doing, man? I'm always good, thanks. I hope you're doing well. Jason, hello from Montreal. Great workout. Show LL. Thank you. Excellent. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm looking forward to our call as well. Saturday at 6 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. your time. It'll be fun, man. It'll be fun. Yeah. Yeah. And I like the lighting you had as well. Scorsese look works well. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. You'll be on tomorrow's show. Yeah. All right. Charitra wrote, I want to know from your experience. Let me throw this gum out here. I want to know from your experience that coming from a non-finance background, can I set up a whole private equity firm or a hedge fund solely with the help of AI? Is it possible to build a whole company? It can help you with the business planning. It can help you from the point of business planning, but I say it's very hard to do. Yeah. I'd say that initially you need to work at a private equity firm or a venture capital or hedge fund, I should say. One or the other, private equity firm or hedge fund. Develop a track record before launching your own fund. It'll just be easier to raise capital that way. And I can help you as well. Set up a call with me if you want. Yeah. Yeah. And then Manas wrote, your air conditioning can be heard. Yeah. Unfortunately, my primary mic went down, so I'm using the Yeti. It's not as good, but it's good enough. And that's why you can hear. It's actually not my air conditioning. It's actually my treadmill. Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, Philip wrote here. What do you think about European exchanges? Why are Europeans pouring their money, their savings in New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ? Yeah. The best run companies on the planet, right or wrong, I'll call a spade a spade. Okay, so the very last company on the planet to ever go belly up will be the U.S. government. Okay, and that's why the risk-free rate is U.S. 3-month treasuries. It is what it is. It's not LIBOR anymore, meaning not London interbank offer rate. Right? The United States is growing. The United States is where innovation is. A lot of people in the United States that are the pioneers from an innovation perspective were not born here. They're born all over the world. But the system works. And as much as I think that the United States government is the last company on the planet to ever go bankrupt, it's all relative, right? Protected by two oceans. I think that U.S. companies are better run than the U.S. government in the S&P 500. And that might explain why a lot of Europeans are investing in the United States. Now, if you guys are going to invest, if you're in Europe, you're going to be investing in the United States. Just be careful. Talk to your accountant first to make sure that you can still get tax deductions for your retirement savings program. And also be careful of U.S. dollar exposure relative to the euro or to the pound if you're in the United Kingdom. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to take a couple more questions. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. And then if you're in my premium products, I'll see you on I'll see you on the calls, the Zoom call. All right. All right. Next up, the United States has suspended visas indefinitely to 75 nations. How do you see it now? He has done it and is not just talking about it. Is that true? 75 nations? Let me see. Give me 1 second. Okay. Chat GPT. Okay. And let me actually copy this. Hold on a second, because I don't know if that's right. Okay. Is this correct? Be brief. Brief. Okay. Wow. Oh my God. Oh, is moving towards. Okay, so it looks like it's temporary while it reassesses screening procedures. The thing about the United States is there's enough checks and balances in place to stop nuttiness. Yeah, it looks like it's a pause. It's not a blanket ban. It's just a pause for now. Okay. Non-immigrant visa are unaffected for now. Yeah. Let me do some work on that. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah. Again, I think there's enough checks and balances in the United States to keep nuttiness, policy in check. Okay. All right. Next question is, how do I find out what my purpose is? Yeah. So here's how I answer that. And this is an exercise for all of you that have trouble getting out of bed every day to do something you don't want to do. Meaning getting paid this much money to work for another schmuck to make their dreams become reality. If I gave you all 30 days off starting tomorrow, okay? And in those 30 days, you can't go to work. You can't go to school. You can't travel. What are you going to do with your time? Think about that. Whatever that is your next career. And that is your purpose, your raison d'être. And I don't care what anybody says. That's what you're meant to do. The thing is, how do we turn that into a startup or a job? Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, I am going to wrap up this webcast. Please join me tomorrow on my webcast here at 10 a.m. This angle here. Okay, check. Yeah, all right. And my audio will work perfectly too. Yeah, there's no mute on that one. Sorry. What I was saying is that over here, it didn't work. I'll show you my screen here. Yeah. So here you'll see that it didn't work. I reversed it because I was looking that way. All right. Okay, guys. Okay. Oh, yes. I will play the Steve Jobs video now as I end this webcast like I always do. All right, guys. And for anybody in my premium programs, I will see you in a couple of minutes on our Zoom call. Thank you. God bless you guys. And I'll see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time for my 11th annual open house. Thanks, guys. God bless.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. And that is, everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.